When we talk about relationship equity, what that looks like, it's the same kind of equity of like, how much equity do you have in your house? So if you own a house or you own a car, how much of that actual car do you own? So let's say you have a loan on your car and your car was $20,000. If you've already put in $10,000, you own 50% of the equity. That's kind of how it works. If you've ever played Monopoly, kind of understand the concept. Relationships work very much in the same way. So how do you turn your business into an actual brand? Well, my name is Bijal Patel, and I've had 13 years of corporate experience working at big Fortune 500 companies, and I'm taking all of that juicy firsthand experience and have brought it into my company Launch. Within this podcast, you're going to learn about branding, vision, identity, mindset, and how to scale your business to the next level. So let's go ahead and own your brand. The famous Warren Buffett quote is, your net worth is equal to your network. The question is, how do you build a super strong network of people that you continue to thrive with in your business, life, and relationships? This is something that I think is under-discussed on the pathway to success. So when we're looking at where are you currently in your success, in all cases, you are 1 to 5 who's away from what you need to get to the next level. When I say who's, I literally mean who. And the book that I'm thinking of is Who, Not How. If you haven't read that book, I absolutely recommend picking it up. But sometimes we can have the right who in our periphery, in our circle, but we may have another issue where our relationship with them isn't deep enough. It's not connected enough, or we don't feel like we've got enough relationship equity within that space to create a conduit for the next thing that we're looking to grow into. So let's go through some of the fallacies that occur when people are trying to build strong relationships as it relates to their business. So I'm just going to rattle off a bunch. You can take notes. You can revisit this because I have a complete gift at building strong relationships with people. And people often ask me as if it's like this like strategic thing I'm doing to build relationships with people. And I'm not. Like, I'm not out there like deciding that I'm going to get in with X person or Y person. I just don't function like that. Like, I am authentic to the core. So the version of me that you're experiencing on the podcast and listening to my voice, or maybe you're watching me on the YouTube channel, that same version of me is the same one that shows up in Slack for my team, the same one that's on Zoom for our clients, and the same one that you'll meet in real life at one of our events one time. So want to make that clear through and through that the version that you get is exactly what you're going to see. So authenticity and the root of that is where the attraction to strong relationships come from. People often think that, excuse the language here, if you've got kids, you may want to flip it. People think it's a dick measuring contest, and I'm just here to tell you it is not. First of all, I don't have a dick, just for the record. But second of all, it's also not a boob measuring contest. What it actually is how authentic are you with how you are representing yourself, and are you providing value with a high level of energy to the other person, to the other party. If you enter into a relationship with the question with them, what's in it for me? You are going to literally create a deficit from that person. Just like you go to the bank to withdraw cash, you are withdrawing, withdraw over and over and over again. And as somebody who all of us have deposits and withdrawals, deposits in, withdrawals out, deposits in, withdrawals out. I speak on a lot of stages. I give into a lot of communities, and I can promise you that when I show up, I am 100% there. So afterward, people in the audience come up to me. They want to take pictures. They want to ask more questions that are nuanced and customized to their scenario and situation, which I love to do. And I can say I am particularly gifted at it because I care so much. If you've experienced that moment with me, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where I'm just locked into you, your scenario, your situation, your problems, feeling it with you, understanding what's happening so that we can then move on to get you out of where you are stuck. offering a different perspective that you haven't been able to see because like most business owners, just like me, you can't read the label from outside the bottle. The point of me sharing this is to say when you show up in a space and you are giving, you can feel that you are getting withdrawn from. After a speaking event, and I just had one in Nashville where literally I was on two people's podcasts, like in-person podcasts, by the way, are completely different whether you are hosting or like I was a guest on two people's podcasts. Completely different energy space because you're in the environment with them. They also tend to run longer than online podcasts do. I did a client interview from stage to about 50 people. And then after that, I hosted a brand brain workshop for our launch brand influencer and brand enthusiast clients. And then I ended up with a mixer. It was just like insane. It was like 5 things that happened that day. I could feel that I was withdrawn from, and I literally needed an energy reset on how I was actually feeling. So you can imagine that people that you want to talk to, somebody who's leading a group, the guru, the person of influence, whoever it is, the speaker who's on the stage, that person is so used to habitually giving, they often don't get their own cup refilled. So one of the things, the fallacies that I see out there is the minute that you see a person of influence, you're immediately like, let me pull an extract for this person, which is fine. Because if they say, I want you to ask a question, when I say it, I mean it. And I know a lot of people do genuinely mean it. But what are you then doing to honor the coaching and the training that you were given? So, example of this, so glad you asked, is if someone gives you coaching, my favorite thing on the planet is when someone goes and implements or takes action and actually moves on the thing I told them to do. So whether I gave an assignment, told them to read a specific book, sent them to a podcast, maybe it was ours, maybe it was someone else's, made them an introduction, encourage or challenge them to do the next thing, the faster you can implement that action and circle it back to say, hey, look, no need to respond because you want to alleviate the pressure of responding. You don't want to know how many DMs I get. Like, it's insane, and I'm not even huge out there, but the amount of DMs I get, Facebook, Instagram, then we're talking about text, and then we've got our circle communities, then I'm in my own mastermind groups, and then I'm a part of other groups like my fitness group and stuff like that, and then I have friends and family, mom groups, etc. So the amount of communication that happens is insane. So you want to alleviate the pressure to say, just because I'm holding myself accountable and wanting to share that with you because I just want to show some gratitude and let you know I took action. So when you made a deposit into me, here I was, snappity snap. I took what you gave me and I ran. That is the best compliment. That is the most honoring thing you can do if you're going to stop somebody and ask them for their time, is honor them through the action and then notify them or tag them in a post. If you take a picture with someone, put a post on, express even a sentence of gratitude. I'm telling you, that goes so far. You're probably thinking, oh, it won't matter. Who am I to do this? I don't want to seem like I'm fangirling. Listen. That is like the dumbest concept on the planet, to be like, I'm not fangirling, I'm not fanboying. That is so silly. Like, I look up to my role models and I'm absolutely fanboying and fangirling, and I make it loud and known. I'm just not fake about it. So there's a difference between fangirling and fanboying because you are so excited about the body of work or the representation this person has in your life because you formed a relationship with them. You watching right now probably feel like you know me to some degree. I know Bijal. Oh, I know she's about to say something spicy. Oh, I remember when she talked about this before. You start to form a relationship with your content creators and the people that are putting value out there. That's absolutely what's supposed to happen. So you don't think it would be honoring to say, hey, I got a lot out of that interaction, and look, here's what I did. I had a lot of gratitude for that. This is totally different than brown nosing and being like, look who I was spotted with. I'm not into that. You will never catch me anywhere on any street being like, oh, it's just the time that me and so, I don't name drop. I never sound like that. I never pretend that it's like just another Tuesday. I honor it for what it is. And if I have closer relationships to some people, I do. And it's just very clear cut on what that is. I don't think I am more special because of it. I just think it's a matter of fact. So number one thing that I want you to think about is, what are you doing to deposit back in? The number two thing I want you to do and to think about is, when you extract value, how can you honor them in a way where you are showing them more likely publicly on social, but even privately, that you've taken action with the gold nuggets they've given you. Okay, this takes me to my third point about relationship equity. If you want to learn more about relationships, the absolute master of relationships and understanding everything nuanced and related to all of the emotions and the connections and the communication is Esther Perel. You can find her on Masterclass. That's the easiest way to access her. And I'm just a tremendous fan of the body of her work, of which I don't even know more than like 10% of it. But from what I've seen, as being somebody who has high EQ, which means emotional quotient, is the considered to be the opposite of intelligent quotient, which is IQ, intelligence quotient. And I don't think they're opposites. I think they're both and. I think they're all intertwined, just like the yin and yang. Anyways, when we talk about relationship equity, what that looks like, it's the same kind of equity of like, how much equity do you have in your house? So if you own a house or you own a car, how much of that actual car do you own? So let's say you have a loan on your car and your car was $20,000. If you've already put in $10,000, you own 50% of the equity. That's kind of how it works. If you've ever played Monopoly, kind of understand the concept. Relationships work very much in the same way. So I've done posts on this before. I have a household team of people who are a part of the Patel household in our circuit. I have a business launch. My husband has his lift plastic surgery practice. And then we have another third business together, which is predominantly his, a SaaS company called AdVital. We also have two kiddos that are 6 and 8 at the time of this filming, and our little fluffy dog, Nacho, who just turned 10. Nacho is taking a nap right now, just taking a little bit of a breather. He has to do a lot of content, so, he needs a little rest. And between our household, we just have too much going on to not have a force of people that are around us. So the person I bring up the most often is my housekeeper. She has been with us for 4.5 years. She has moved with me. She comes to our house 3 times a week, and literally she's the person who does everything. She not only cleans the house, she does the dishes, she does all of our laundry, she does dry cleaning, she does ironing. She literally the other day, this is the coolest thing, she bought hangers because I ran out of hangers. And she realized that I'm not going to make it to buy it. So she asked me hey, I saw these cool wire hangers with this suede on it or something, whatever. I don't know, velour hangers. I don't know. I was like, no, I am anal and it has to be it has to match every other hanger in there. And so it has to match. That's all I care about. So I noticed when I came back, she just went and bought more hangers. She found them. She bought them. She didn't bring it up. So in reverse, though, in converse, she just had hip surgery last week. I told her, not only are you not coming to my house, your crew does not need to come, and don't worry about it. I have her on a monthly retainer and I just pay that every single month and I don't worry about it after. So the reason we can have that type of relationship equity, I know what's going on with her daughter. I know what's going on with her mental space. I know when she has to freaking let go or the whole team leaves on her and she has to retrain a whole crew of people. I welcome all of them in and I know what's going on. Her and her daughter have had on again, off agains so many times, I can't even count it. I give them hand-me-downs all the time. Our kids' cribs, our kids' beds, everything our kids have ever owned first are given to her for first right of refusal, and then I move on to give them to someone else. So, and then in return, she does so many things that when we have events and we're hosting pool parties at my house, she goes and organizes our everything that's around, from our pantry to make sure the guest bedroom is ready for whoever's coming to visit, to making sure the pool area is nice and set and has extra towels out there. I mean, she's literally doing all raking the leaves outside, cleaning that up, making sure The mudroom is actually organized. Like the mudroom is a place where all things get thrown, and she's looking after that. So relationship equity is what settles in after trust is properly built. And I'm going to say that again because this is a concept that's worthy of noting. Relationship equity is what settles in after trust is properly built. So spending time with not only your clients, which is amazing, service your clients, but I see a lot of businesses that are impact centered have figured out that they need to serve their clients in an amazing way that makes them feel seen, understood, respected, and where they're getting value. But they forget about the people that they are clients to. So the question I want you to ask yourself in the relationship equity equation, which is not the one that you would probably ask yourself, is number one, how are you feeling about your current clients? Number two, rate yourself from 1 to 10 and rank yourself. How are you as a client to other people? This doesn't mean that you don't have any standards. This doesn't mean that you don't have any boundaries. That's not what I'm saying. Actually, in the converse, you should be operating from a principle we call love is accountability. That's how the Patel household works. And what that means is that you are challenging people up, but not beyond the level that you're willing to traverse yourself. You have to be willing to go there first as the leader, and then you are allowed to ask other people to follow you, not before that. But oftentimes we spend so much time focused on the clients that we don't ask ourselves, how does this show up with myself as a leader to the team? Also, how does this show up when I'm a client to other people? Questions to ask yourself. Do your vendors think you are a pain in the ass? Are you the PETA client? If you hesitate for 1 second, then you know it's you. I'm not saying you don't have seasons. I'm not saying that you don't have projects, but what have you done to pour back into that relationship? Because it's only fair to equal out, to say, hey, I was off. I may have been wrong in this season. What am I doing to contribute back to that relationship? Number two, do you pay your bills on time? Do you know how often small business owners just don't get their invoices paid? They are usually 30, 60, and sometimes 90 days overdue on bills that are owed to them. 30, 60, or 90 days. That disrupts the cash flow of a small business like, whoa, I shouldn't have to be teaching this because you already know this, because that's what happens when you receive it on the other end. If you don't want it for yourself, karma is real, regardless of your religious beliefs. So pay it forward and pay it first. Are you paying your bills on time? And the third piece of advice from there is, how are you treating people? Are you treating people the way that you would like to be treated? And the platinum rule is, are you treating people the way that they would like to be treated? You can continue to be accountable. You can continue to ask for accountability and higher standards, but are you taking people along with you together as a group, energizing them, motivating, feeding them, inspiring them, making deposits of encouragement, or are you constantly withdrawing? So when you understand this is the basis of all energy. It's a give and a receive and a give and a receive. That is relationship equity to a T. So what does this mean? You want to build stronger relationships. Okay, cool. I had a client ask me once, how do you build relationships with these big name gurus? I don't care about those people in particular. I care about you, but I want to know how you do it. And I looked at it and I was like, that is such an interesting question, because I don't intentionally think about it. I literally don't. I'm not out there maneuvering like a guy at a club, like trying to get the girl. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I will say this, if you've been around me at any point in person, or if you consume some of the other podcasts that are here, you will get the resolute sense that I carry myself with, one, a level of excellence that is attractive. Number two, with a high level of energy. And let's specify what that means. A high level of energy isn't like, oh my God, I'm so excited to be here. Look at me, I'm an extrovert. No, and I am an extrovert, but not all the time. Sometimes I'm tired. Like that day after Nashville last week, I was really, really tired. On Thursday night, a big group tried to drag me out to dinner, and I was like, deuces, I'm not coming because I'm going to have to play a role when I'm there. And I'm just not ready to play that role. I just want to chill back at the Airbnb and had an amazing moment with empowering women. And we literally masterminded the world together, came up with this enormous vision that was absolutely right on time. We're exactly where I was supposed to be to continue to empower women and drive social equity forward. So that is the entire vision of my business. So I was just right on time where I needed to be, albeit a little exhausted. So when you think about it from that framework and you understand that level of energy you're bringing, it's based on David Hawkins' Maps of Consciousness book, or you can look at it from the Frederick Dotson Levels of Energy. It is a baseline energy of which you carry yourself that you're working towards and you're moving up the ladder. So a low level, the lowest level of energy is apathy. Up from there is fear, which is about 100. And then as you move up the ladder, actually anger is like 190. So actually, people who are afraid are the people that are suppressed generally. But if you imagine any governments out there, and then when they like put together a rebellion, they fight against the forces. That's actually them raising their level of energy because they're ready to fight now for what they believe in. And then from there, you move on to acceptance and neutrality. And what that looks like is that it's great if it works, doesn't matter if it doesn't. So that's where you start to see normal things like self-doubt, imposter syndrome, low self-confidence, insecurity, blah, 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 all starts to dissipate. Because have you ever noticed that certain people that you notice, it might be online, it might be that you met them, carry themselves in a way that they continue to try new things. They continue to put out new stuff. They continue to forge forward, and it's almost like they never fail in your eyes. It doesn't matter what you see. You don't think that they're ever failing. No matter how vulnerable they are, you're like, oh man, but you're still winning. I can still sense it's win or learn. Those people have entered into a level that's called neutrality. They no longer worry about whether it worked or didn't work. They're more obsessed literally with the journey. Did I swing the bat versus did I actually hit the home run? So people talk about this in the sales framework all the time. Like, don't get attached to the sale. Don't get attached to the sale. Okay, let's keep it real. How many times have you gotten attached to the sale and you're like, oh no, I totally thought I was closing that. And then you're just like in a pool of sadness and victim mode, and you really needed that money, or you loved that client and you really thought it was going to close. That's called attachment. But when you get to the point of neutrality, you're able to accept that it's all perfectly happening on time and you did your job, which is to take the at bat. Did you take the swing? If you took the swing, win. Give yourself a pat on the back, check mark, A+, you have done the deed. So having entered myself into a new level of neutrality, I will say, I don't care how my social media posts do anymore. You know, I've got my content team here with me shooting right now, and we like reset the way that we're shooting everything. I was like, here's what we're doing. This is what we're doing on the podcast. This is what we're doing on Insta. And then here's what I'm no longer doing. And some of my directive back was, and they loved it, which is like, we're only on the extremes. I'm like, I have a highly healthy feminine that is like queen bee, healthy feminine side. That's like the nurturer, the empowerer, the beingness, the calling people forward and magnetizing. And then I have the other side that's more in the masculine. And I'm like, let's go soldier bee. Let's go kick butt. Let's call people up. Let's show tough love. Let's ask the hard questions. Let's say what we are all thinking, but no one is willing to put their neck out there. That is I. Hi, it's me. I'm willing to do it. And the reason that we're going to those extremes is that when you enter into the phase of neutrality, it doesn't really matter what the external folks think. You are no longer victim, or you're no longer held hostage by other people's engagement, likes, comments. It doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter either way. And what that does it doubles down on your empowered voice. And then from when you move up from there, you move into like kindness, and then there's like love and peace, and like you kind of move on past to like self-actualization. And the scale, at least in Frederick Dodson's, is like up to 1,000. And 1,000 is like you're not even living anymore. You're a god or a deity, and like you are, enlightened in oneness. But there's been studies that like Mahatma Gandhi, Jesus, Mother Teresa, they were all at like levels 800 and above. So most mortal beings are not at an 800 or above, and peace is somewhere around 600. So it's so interesting when you start to absorb that it really is one energy. We are all connected. We are all a part of the same thing. So when you start to believe in your powers to be able to sense and plug into that one conscious energy, you might call it source, you may call it God, you may call it the universe, you may call it the collective unconscious. It doesn't matter what you label it. It's one thing together. And when you know how to tap into that, a lot of times it'll feel like it is your intuition that's speaking to you, or you might call it a download, or you might receive it during prayer. It may happen during meditation, or it's that spark in the shower where you suddenly got an amazing idea. I want you to lean into that. And to wrap all of this up with a beautiful bow, when we're talking about stronger relationships, there are two that I want you to pay mind to, especially in this interview. Number one is I want you to pay attention to your relationship with yourself. How are you doing with you? And a lot of times we discount this, or we think self-care looks like showing up and getting a massage. Now, I love massages, deep tissue actually, and all of the extra things. I'm the one who gets all the extra things. Hot stone, add it. Foot scrub for extra 15 minutes. Who knows? I think I need it. Let's do it. Spray me with aroma therapy. That sounds good. I need eucalyptus in my face. When else do I do this? And I'm the one who will buy all the add-on packages. But that's not what the relationship with yourself looks like. That's an expression of love and a physical touch that you are curating towards yourself. But your relationship with yourself looks like and sounds like, how do you talk to yourself when no one is there? When that voice is speaking to you, how do you speak back to that voice? When that voice literally asks you, who are you to? I want to invite you to think, why don't you just answer them back? Say, I am Bijal, and I am powerful, and I am meant to share my voice with the world, and I absolutely am going to do just that. Thanks for trying to keep me safe, but we're good. I want you to say it out loud back. So one is the conversations you're having with yourself. Number two, what is the feelings that you're experiencing in your body? We get so caught up in the things that we are hearing and that we are seeing, we forget, how are you actually feeling? My 75 hard journey has taught me that a lot of our unhealed traumas and feelings are trapped within our body, and they're a part of our subconscious memory. So move your body every day. Even if that's going on a 10-minute walk, you will feel refreshed. I highly recommend 75 Hard as a way to get in tuned with your somatic system so you can start to even repair and heal out parts and pieces that you could had a sense were there, but weren't 100% sure. So number one is your relationship with yourself. And the number two relationship that I want you to think about, and we're going to end on this note, is what is your relationship with source, with God, with the universe, with the collective energy? Whatever your belief system, all of them are welcome. I'm not here to debate that. I'm not here to question that. I'm not here to unravel or untangle that. I have my own belief systems, as do you. And I think it's awesome that we honor and respect each other's lane in this regard. What that means, though, is do you spend time in intentionally connecting to a source that's bigger than you so you can gain the faith that comes in with whatever your belief systems are about the future? If you have stronger faith in the future, your vision will expand and become more clear. And a clear and big vision is the literal magnetic force that pulls forward anything that's getting in your way. It pushes self-sabotage. It pushes away self-doubt, low confidence, team issues, any kind of challenges you have, it's like an enormous magnet in the sky, that vision, and it pulls you forward. So when we think about building stronger relationships, think about the different facets that have to do with other people, yes, but more importantly, what about your relationship with yourself and source? That's what I got for you guys today. If that hit home, I would incredibly appreciate if you left us a review. Be so great. We're growing our podcast. We're moving to 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. So make sure you check us out. And if you haven't seen my face yet, check out our YouTube. They're super fun to watch. All right. Peace.